Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vance.
Right now, I've got Godzilla playing the Peter Lorre part in Casablanca.
We've got Chris.
Clever quote inserted later.
Wow, put it in post. And I'm Kia. Welcome to the show. We got no quotes this time.
No words. He's got no words.
No words.
That's how much grief Chris is.
Is he sad because Captain America has died and he's grief stricken, still dead?
That's right.
Yes, we are reading The Death of Captain America, the whole big Ed Brubaker long run on Captain America. We've been very slowly working our way through it over the course of the last few years here. We are on issues 31 through 36. It is the trade, if you're looking for that, is officially called The Death of Captain America, Act 2, The Burden of Dreams. And then we are continuing our long read of the Thunderbolts. Last time we read issue number 4. This time we're reading the Thunderbolts annual, which we'll get into at the end of the show. But yeah, let's jump into Captain America here. What do we need to know here? Last arc, Captain America died. It was at the hands of his best friend and lover, Sharon Carter, Agent 13, who was mind-controlled by the Red Skull and Dr. Faustus. She's kind of realized it was her. She's lost control now. She's shot at the Falcon and the Black Widow, and she's run away. Bucky is also seeking vengeance here, but he's been caught by the Red Skull. Also, the Red Skull is living in the mind of Alexander Lukin, who is this guy? Who owns the Cronus Corporation?
And he's some executive, some Eastern European Russian executive.
Jeez, I feel like there's a trend here where it's like if you're an evil executive or an evil politician, just don't get in bed with supervillains. Like ever, that's a bad idea.
Well, where else are you going to raise capital?
That's true. It's easy. Yeah. They make it easy. But yeah, let's jump into the issue.
Billionaires are not good people.
They're really not.
They're these poor billionaires. Won't somebody think of them being deceived by the Red Skull?
Yeah, they were evil to begin with. All right, so Sharon Carter is on the street. She's kind of struggling with her thoughts, and this evil inner voice of hers is telling her, "Oh, you already killed Cap. Go join the villains." Bucky is being mind tortured by Faustus. He's like implanting images and stuff in there. He's seeing memories of Captain America in the war, doing very un-Captain America things like shooting people, shooting Bucky, all that.
He never really loved you, thoughts.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Bucky says, "You're never going to break me. You're never going to get in my head." And he calls Faustus fat. Faustus is like, "That's not going to do anything to me." And he's like, "You're still fat." doesn't work very well.
Ad hominem attacks aren't working during torture.
Yeah. Tony Stark fills in Falcon and Black Widow about how they think that Sharon Carter has been compromised, how they found a whole bunch of other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents that have been brainwashed. But it seems like he thinks she might still be in there because, like, why did Sharon only stun them when she could have killed them? That kind of thing. Red Skull is giving a speech to his army. Basically, he's got an army of 2,000. It seems like these are kind of like private crew from some of the random places he's hired, a bunch of raid agents, a little bit of everybody. And I really love the art on this impassioned speech that he's giving, where he just looks insane. Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like this whole run was sold to me on how Steve Epting drew the Red Skull. Like in that first issue, I'm like, this is a great Red Skull drawing. I will read the rest of this book. And Epting continues to draw the shit out of the Red Skull.
That's all you need. He looks so insane. I would like a mask like that, actually.
Yeah, because the movie had just kind of like a bright red mask. This is like, man, Epting just does it right. Like, and the coloring is so good for it with like the deep red. So good. Yep. And then he's like wearing like normal clothes with it. It's so good.
Yeah, remember when he shows up in the second Avenger, or I guess the second part of Endgame or whatever?
Yeah.
And you're like, who is this?
Yeah, but you're like, that's like, they didn't get Hugo Weaving to do this again, did they? No. The whole time I'm like, is this Hugo Weaving? It isn't. I don't know who they got. Yeah, Red Skull's just chilling in hell, I guess. Guarding an Infinity Stone. Is that what we're to believe?
Basically.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Bucky is still getting mind tortured here. I really, really love this page it's like a Jim Steranko style layout, right? With like the heads floating around and just like a little bit surreal. It definitely reminded me of some of that old Captain America.
There's a cover that way, right? With the like overlaying heads. We read that like super early in our run.
Yeah.
Right? Like Captain America like 68 or something.
Yeah,
70.
yeah, that is the Steranko run.
Which is only like 3 issues, right? But that was a good episode. Those were good.
It made me happy to see that kind of homage to it.
He is wearing the cloak like he did in Avengers 4, though. In Endgame. In that same image, the Red Skull is wearing his cloak, like from Avengers Endgame.
He does look like that. Has the Red Skull ever tried to dress up like Death and seduce Thanos?
Ooh, I
think that'd be good.
That'd be clever.
Yeah. All right, so Bucky finally is like under control. He wakes up and he's like, "Hey, you're my boss. Tell me what to do." And Faustus gives Bucky a gun and orders him to kill Sharon Carter, who apparently is a nurse now. I don't know how she got there. And
that's a very just like classic thing. Like, I'm gonna dress up the woman as my nurse. It's a very camp.
Yeah. And Faustus gives him a gun. Bucky aims the gun, fires,
but you don't see who it is.
Who
could he possibly have shot? Come back next month.
Straight into the next issue. That's still like there's definitely fire coming out of that gun. You know, I feel like they said it's not loaded in the next issue, but I don't know.
I think did they say blanks?
Yeah, they say it's a blank.
So there's still fire. Okay. But yeah, it was blanks. He tried to shoot Faustus, and Faustus is like, "Yeah, come on, you knew that wasn't gonna work."
I knew it wasn't gonna work, but like at the same time, like I gotta shoot my shot.
Right, you gotta check. And they knock him out. The guards take him away, drag him to some other room. Tony, we got Falcon and Widow. They are going through the sewers to try and get to this base to rescue Sharon and or Bucky. I forget who's their goal here. It's Sharon. They don't even know Bucky's there. Tony, meanwhile, is talking to some scientists. He's confirming that the pregnancy test they found at Sharon's apartment was real. And he's like, delete all these reports. I don't want anyone to know about this. Which is probably a good idea. I don't know why it's a good idea, but I assume you just don't want the bad guys knowing that she's pregnant, right? Like, I don't have a specific reason. I just know it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, the way he says, like, so, like, intention-wise, like, I don't need my employees to know. We don't need to be going through our employees and finding out they're pregnant. Like, one, that's fucked up.
Okay,
right?
that's
Two,
fair, yeah.
That's a bad look. Two, yeah, we don't need our enemies using that as compromising information. Also accurate. The way he's like, delete all the information, that seems like a little, like, tyrannical, sketchy. So, I don't know. But also, at the same time, like, we shouldn't have this information on file. We need to get rid of it. I'm with Tony on that regard, but I'm also like, I don't like how he delivers it. But also, Tony is like enemy number one of the Marvel universe at this point because it's post Civil War. He's the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. All the superheroes hate him, except for these heroes, I guess. But
well, those heroes work for S.H.I.E.L.D. It's okay.
They're all cops.
Yeah, they're all cops. So what else do we have here? The Widow and Falcon bust into this place, fighting some raid agents. The alarms are sounding.
Raid is radically advanced ideas of destruction instead of just aim.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
What was it? AIM, advanced ideas and mechanics.
Mechanics.
Yeah.
Raid is a cool.
Raid
is a fun added acronym.
Yeah. So the alarms are sounding. Faustus is like, "Hey, we got to get out of here. Guards, bring me Bucky." And the guards go to get Bucky, and Bucky beats them all up. Faustus sends Sharon to go get him. And she kind of hesitates when she sees him, but she does stun him, and he gets recaptured. Then Sharon and Faustus and Bucky, captured Bucky, are all flying away on a plane. And Faustus is like, "Oh, we got to get this guy off of us." Like, Falcon is flying after them, pursuing them. And Sharon says, "I know how to do it." And she pulls a latch and drops Bucky's body out of the plane. Falcon stops him, catches him, and manages to save Bucky. Faustus is pissed. But, Sharon's like, "It worked. We got rid of Falcon." He's like, okay, I guess you're
Yeah,
right.
you got the robot answer. Like, we got to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Maybe not under that circumstances. Probably should have put a extra close statement like, and don't let the prisoner go. But
That'd
Yep.
be specific.
So then Falcon and Widow are hanging out with Bucky as the shield copters arrive because he's under arrest. Okay.
The Widow under arresting, saying that she's arresting him.
I guess so. Sorry if you keep hearing claps over here. There's a bug flying around, and I just got it, so you're not going to hear any more claps.
All right.
Unless the family comes after me. All right. Captain America number 33. Faustus is telling the Skull in person that he lost Bucky because he knows Red Skull likes to shoot the messenger, and he's like, I'm just going to tell him myself. Shield scientists are looking at Bucky's arm. They've captured Bucky, of course. And they're like, hey, this is a Shield design here. So, like, either the Russians had a mole or maybe Nick Fury made this arm for Bucky. We don't know. But then the arm, like, comes alive. It just shocks somebody. It punches them all, and it crawls away.
It goes to, like, a vent. It's like, I would expect it to be giving the middle finger like an Evil Dead 2.
It's very, yeah.
It's only one page, but Epting draws the shit out of it.
Yeah, it's got those vibes. It's very good. Tony is talking to Falcon and the Widow, and then like something happens, and the static on the screens, and the lights go out, and then everything comes back on, and Bucky has escaped. So Tony suits up and heads over. Iron Man is trying to talk to Bucky, but Bucky like is only interested in fighting. And Iron Man's like, I can do this forever. You can't hurt me. So Bucky manages to get a hold of him and rips the like front faceplate off of Tony's mask, and points a gun at his face. But then he finally listens to Tony.
I like this fight. There's a part where Bucky like tries to like do an electromagnetic pulse, I guess, from his hand onto Tony, and Iron Man's like, "Come on, like I've been doing this for so long. You think I'm gonna fall for a fucking like magnetic pulse? Like, come the fuck on." I would love to see if he does fall for an EMP in a future comic in the last 15 years. I'm sure he did.
Oh, of course. Was that Chris? No, never.
No, I probably, but it's cool. It's a cool scene.
But like, cause like he has a good like back and forth, cause like Tony does get one over on Bucky, but then Bucky still is like, "Fuck you! I'm just gonna rip your mask off. You can't stop that."
I wonder how that mask can get ripped off, because this suit that Tony is wearing is like nanotechnology that is always on him, and it like moves itself to be in the position. Like, why does it have a front faceplate? You know what I mean?
Bucky has a metal arm that he can like disconnect from his body. So
all right, that's fair.
Yeah, well, because like Tony, because literally like 3 pages earlier, Tony like rips his shirt off and like goop is covering his chest, like yellow goop. But then he's got like a faceplate like that still can like has like a flap with a hinge. So yeah,
get more goop to recover your face.
Maybe he doesn't. It's like, don't put the goop on the face. Like, you can do the goop on the body, but like,
honestly, if there was anyone who wouldn't want goop on their face, it's Tony Stark. He would just say no goop. That's it.
He is married to Gwyneth Paltrow in the movies.
In the movies, that's true.
Wow.
It all comes back to goop. All right, so Bucky finally listens, and Tony's like, "Hey, I want you to read this letter that Steve gave me." Black Widow shows up with a bunch of guards. She's ready for the fight, but Tony and Bucky are just sitting there reading this letter now, very calmly. And then during this fight, we also, I guess, some news happened that Lucan's plane has crashed. He's dead, or at least that's what the news is saying. And they're telling him, like, yeah, those are the people really responsible for Captain America's death. And Bucky is like reading over this letter where Captain America basically said, "Hey, I want Bucky to be the next Captain America." And Bucky says he'll agree to do it under 2 conditions. No more mind control ever again. Make sure the Shield scientists can like get all the code words and stuff out of his head. And that also he doesn't answer to anyone, not even Tony Stark. And Tony's like, okay, that's cool.
I don't.
I feel like that's a bad plan to expect that, but I don't know. Do you think Tony's going to put mind control in?
Yeah, I think he's going to throw some extra in there. I feel like he did in like fucking like Secret Invasion or some shit like that. He'll be like Tango Alpha Bravo, and then Bucky be like,
yeah.
I feel like that's rude.
Don't mind control your friends.
Also, how do you get all that out? Like, how do they scan for the safe words or like the implants and stuff? Like, do they just say a bunch? I was wondering if this, like, do they just say like a bunch of words like apple, pineapple, tree, orange, just to like see what happens?
They read the dictionary. Yeah.
Like Clockwork Orange or something at night. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Feels like it would be. I feel like brainwashing someone is really hard, and brainwashing them is probably harder.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just saw Inside Out 2. That's accurate. Once things are pretty implanted and incepted, it's kind of hard to change your sense of self. Yeah.
Is that what that movie's about?
Yep. It's about, Riley gets brainwashed into a Russian asset.
What?
No. What the fuck? No. It's $1 billion Disney movie. No, it doesn't. No, but she does have the Inside Out characters like this. They've evolved from emotions to like using memories to build your sense of self, and then
Right.
and then anxiety takes over and changes her sense of self.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
All right, so straight into issue number 34 here. We got the new Cronus CEO, who is definitely a real person, Vlad Moravec. He is not Alexander Lukin in a disguise, and he has doubled the price of oil per barrel. Wall Street is all fucked.
So the Red Skull got a different disguise. He put it on Lukin. Is that what we're to believe?
I guess he has like a series of masks he can put on Lucan.
It looked like a hologram kind of thing to me in one of the shots, but I could be wrong.
I like the idea of him just having like just a row of masks he can put on.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Or maybe what was it? What was that Wizard of Oz movie, Return to Oz, where the queen's got all the different heads?
Yes.
Got to be like
Drew
that.
Mine's episode.
Shouldn't be. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. All right, we got so Cronus Corporation is fucking over Wall Street. They're also foreclosing on a bunch of mortgages, and they own a ton of homes, and people are pissed and getting kicked out of their homes, and everyone's rioting. We've got Bucky and Widow having a conversation in a plane that this new Bucky version of Captain America officially does not exist. SHIELD has no records of him, all that good stuff. He can't hang out with Tony Stark anymore because he's going to be too close to S.H.I.E.L.D., but Black Widow's okay. She lives in that kind of shade of gray. They attack some bad guys on a base. He's still he's like liking the shield, but he still uses a gun because that's just what he does. There's a fun scene where Bucky throws the shield and it bounces around and misses everyone. But that was on purpose because he shoots their kneecaps out while they're distracted. Good. We got Arnim Zola makes an appearance. I think he's a friend of the show now officially. Good old Arnim Zola. Face on a computer screen on your stomach. Yeah.
He's just in the Thunderbolts, so
he was just in the Thunderbolts. Yeah, a fresh friend. We've got Tony Stark accuses some politician of being in league with Cronus, and we have S.H.I.E.L.D. has a bunch of agents protecting the White House from these riots, but then they're like, "Hey, who are those rogue agents there?" Oh shit! Oh no, they're being mind controlled, and a bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents shoot at a row of protesters. Yikes! That's not good for S.H.I.E.L.D. Not at all. On to issue 35. I thought that was going to be a bigger deal with the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents shooting the protesters, but they're just like, S.H.I.E.L.D., we're not very happy with you.
You would think, but cops hurting civilians isn't
true.
Is often forgotten within days.
That's true. Yep.
But
That's
true. It's quite the image.
I guess there is some fallout from there because now this shithead senator has given a speech about security.
It's the secretary of something.
I think he was both. He was I think he's a senator and he's a secretary of something. Am I wrong about that? Can you be both? Is that allowed?
I also wonder if he's like what Robert Redford's character ended up being in the Winter Soldier movie, because he's also a secretary of something.
I see. Hold on. Senator Gordon Wright, chairman of the Defense Appropriations Committee. That's what it is.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense why he, I guess, would be hanging out with Tony Stark.
Yeah. But he has hired Kane Meyer Securities, a private firm, to guard Washington, D.C. temporarily because S.H.I.E.L.D. can't be trusted.
That doesn't sound like a good idea.
No, yeah. We later learned that Cronus owns that company, which is. I feel like did nobody check that like at all? Is that not public
They
record?
don't give a shit.
They
The
don't
amount
give a
of
shit.
like the Blackwater and the Halliburtons and all these companies we give money to.
We're getting
I
political
like it.
here.
I like how they were like, "Look, we do this overseas all the fucking time, but not in the U.S. That's ridiculous, right?"
Yep.
Like, yeah, we use these people all the time to terrorize other countries, but not our own.
After this speech, Faustus is telling the senator, like, "Hey, you did a good job. It's all going to work." We got a bunch of people still protesting. Bucky is on the scene there, sees some kid offering everyone bottled water, and Bucky realizes, oh, it's Cronus water. This crowd is drugged. But he also realizes you can't drug everyone. Like, you drug enough of these people to make them violent and angry, and other people will just follow suit.
Oh, so that's why they don't allow people in Georgia to hand out water at the polling lots. Okay.
Is that one?
No.
Could be.
No, it's the voter suppression. But we are getting political today.
Yes.
They said that we can't be giving people voter and water because that could influence their votes or some shit like that. That's the smokescreen for like they just want to make it more difficult to vote out in the weather, and then people won't vote. But that's voter suppression. But I would love it if somebody argued like I read in Captain America number 35
that water
they
can mind
drugged-
control you.
Yeah, so we don't want that. So nobody should be having water at the polling places. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to make sure there's freedom of votes, not water influence.
Electoral integrity here. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't be giving people ideas. Not that they're
Oh,
not that the right wing press is looking us for spin stories.
They might. You never know.
Yeah, they could be listening. The New York Post.
So Lucan is meeting with somebody virtually, a Zoom call, with someone who is also being like, "Hey, also, oh, it's not Lucan. Sorry, it's the fake Lucan. What's this guy's name?
Like something Morovin.
Vlad Morovin, yeah. And Vlad, this guy's meeting with Vlad and goes, "Hey, Vlad, I heard a rumor that the old CEO of Cronus isn't actually dead." And he was like, "What are you talking about, man? This call's over." Lucan does not like how far they've been straying from their plans, talking to Red Skull. And Red Skull's like, everything's fine. Their cities are burning. It's great.
I don't really understand why they had to kill Lucan. That plan doesn't make sense to me. He's like, let's kill you and then make somebody else inherit the company.
Well, I guess it's like to give a reason for like, hey, this new guy's in charge and this is how he wants to do things. So it's not just somebody changing their mind or whatever.
Yeah, because otherwise it looks like Lucan's compromised because he's suddenly completely changed from being this heartwarming billionaire to this fascist.
Yeah, better to just die.
Oh, okay. But the Red Skull's wearing masks of both of them. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. What else do we got? Bucky dresses in the Captain America uniform and tries to quell the riot. It's not really working, but he is doing okay. He enjoys fighting righteously, you know. Red Skull is telling Faustus that he wants to keep a closer eye on Sharon Carter. And then we got Sin and the Serpent Society show up. They attack the White House. It does seem like it's a little staged. They're doing something to try and get that politician off the hook. I don't know exactly what the plan is, right? It's just like, hey, let's make it look like this politician is being attacked by the bad guys, right? Is there anything more to it than
flag
that?
thing or something? I don't know. And honestly, I got confused on my number, so I didn't read the next issue. So I'm going to be reading it with y'all.
Cool. It's okay. Sharon is getting examined by Dr. Arnim Zola, and they're worried that she's worried that they're going to learn she's pregnant. Oh, no. Oh, no. And then on to issue number 36, the last issue that we read that Vince did not read, that Vince is hastily reading.
Because I was like, this is a weird cliffhanger for the trade. I was like, it was like, they're going to find out I'm pregnant. And I'm like, that's okay. As long as I get confused when we like 6 issues and then like in the middle here. I'm like, I'm reading I'm reading 0 to, I thought I was reading 30 to 35, but I don't know, I got confused.
It's all right. Don't worry. These things happen. We got Bucky versus 4 supervillains. It's a lot of fighting, Vince. You can skip some of the words there.
I know. Read my poison, idiot. Don't get close to him. James? They are calling him James a lot more than Bucky. I noticed that too.
They are calling him. I meant to write that down somewhere. Especially Black Widow likes to call him James instead of Bucky.
Nope, he's Bucky.
Yeah. All right. So the senator is watching all this. He's like, oh, this isn't right. This wasn't the plan. Bucky is winning, beating up the supervillains. He beats up Sin. Sin, by the way, is Red Skull's daughter. who has been hanging out in the rest of the series prior to this. Her boyfriend Crossbones shows up. He's not happy that she got beat up. They fight a bit. Bucky is really getting beat up, but Bucky stabs him in the leg. Great. Good plan.
Yeah, I do like that Crossbones is so insulted. He's like, "You stabbed me."
Mm-hmm. It's very, it's like Captain America wouldn't do that. Well, I guess he would. Maybe. Faustus shows up to Red Skull's place to a little control room to talk about a complication. And it sounds like Skull thinks he's talking about the pregnancy of Sharon Carter, or maybe just how difficult it's been to keep her under control. We don't get a direct answer, but Faustus is like, no, I'm talking about our plans for the senator. And how, Captain America's there fighting. Well, I guess they don't know it's Captain America there yet, just that there's some complications with their plan. Some guards show up to take the senator away, and the senator's like, "Oh, I'm worried the doctor's plan won't work anymore." And they're like, "Don't worry, they'll edit the footage." Okay. Edit the footage to what? I want to know what it's going to be. Bucky is still fighting everyone. He jumps out the building, lands on Black Widow's flying Nick Fury car that she managed to procure. And then the bad guys are also flying away. They are talking to Red Skull, and they're telling him about the new Captain America. And Red Skull starts laughing. And Faustus is like, "Why are you laughing?" I was like, "Because duh, don't you realize who this new Cap has to be? It's obvious." It's pretty good. Bucky tries to appeal to the crowd afterwards to try and get them to stop rioting, but it does not work at all. He is not a good motivational speaker.
Yeah, he's talking about don't let fear get in. Somebody's like, "Why don't you shut up?"
Yeah, you're not even the real Cap. Cap's dead.
You ain't Captain America.
Yeah, you're not my real dad. Tony Stork is on the phone with the vice president. Saying, did I say Tony Storm? I got wrestling.
No, I heard Tony Stork. And I thought
Stork. Yeah, Birdman.
Was Tony Stork was not in Spider-Ham, right? That's a much better name.
Tony Stork should have been
instead of Iron Ham or whatever. Yeah.
Oh my God, Tony Stork? Let's get some of that. So Tony Stork is on the phone with the vice president, claiming, "Hey, I don't know anything about this new Captain America. I'm just a bird." We got Black Widow talking to Bucky, and Black Widow's telling him like, "Hey, you're front page news now. Plus, Shield has no knowledge of you, so like, I really shouldn't be seen with you either anymore." But gives him a kiss for the road. And Bucky's got a big old smile on his face. Then Sharon has seemingly managed to kind of shut up the voice in her head, and she has decided she's leaving. She's going to save herself, save her baby. And she looks for a way out, and she's like, maybe this lever will let me out. And she comes upon like a crate box of some sort that has Captain America, Steve Rogers in there. And it's like a test tube box, like when people are floating in liquid, but it's like a storage crate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he's doing there. That's a cliffhanger. Is that a better cliffhanger?
Yeah, that's a better cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Then Arnim Zola showing up.
Yep.
Yeah, like friend of the show, but not cliffhanger material. Honestly,
not cliffhanger material. He's just a friend. He's not cliffhanger material.
It's not cliffhanger. Yeah.
Stuck in the friend zone.
This was fun. It was a fun read. I liked reading it. I feel like I don't have a lot to say about it because we've been reading this Captain America for so long, and it's like, yeah, it's good. It's a lot of the same quality, the same stuff.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of newness here for me to like sink my teeth into it and be like, oh, this element was incredible. But it's still good. I still liked it.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt. I felt like this was a pretty thin arc, like as far as like just like plot and like what happened went. And the fact that we rushed through it so quickly, I think expresses that. I think this is sort of like 7th episode of this run, so we only got one more episode left, the big finale. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say about it. I think there's some cool moments in here that aren't really fully explored, like the idea that Bucky, like I think they said like, Tony's gonna let you, Bucky, be a superhero just like off on your own. Like nobody's gonna work for you. You don't have to register with the superhumans. And I think that's an interesting dynamic. But like the book kind of comes back to it 3 issues later, right here at the end. Like, we have to abandon you. We have to disavow knowledge of you. But I think that that's a cool concept. I love the art. The art transition was really good too. The last 2 issues were drawn by Butch Guice, not by Epting.
Yeah.
But the coloring and the inking Geist, I think, Chris, we've talked about this maybe offline, that like Geist is a really good replacement for Epting. Was Butch Geist also a cross-gen guy? Or was he just
He
like...
was.
Okay.
Yeah, he did Ruse.
Okay.
And Epting did oh my god, he did Crux.
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
nonsense words.
Yeah. But I think we did Ruse. But for
Yes,
the
he
show.
did.
But yeah, I mean, like Geist is just like an old timer, like great artist, and I think we should point that out. But yeah, the art continues to be good. I was happy to see this Sin and the Serpent Society or Serpent Squad or whatever their name is right now back. It's moving along really well. I think I still continue to like the plot point that, yeah, Captain America's death was just one part of the Red Skull's plan, but we still don't know what the Red Skull's plan is, and they kept like dangling that longer and longer. So like he's doing something, so that's pushing things forward. But I continue to not remember what actually his plan was or what he was doing. So
Yeah, do we know? I don't think we know.
it's probably just blowing some shit up.
Chris, how about you? Anything to say?
I'm enjoying this. I will say this is like I'm starting to get a little fatigued by it. Like this was around the time I was buying all these in single issues, and like these were such fast reads, and like it's not bad, but you're just like, man, I wish there's a little bit more story here. It's so fast. Like we talked about it pretty breezily, but it's like month to month. These are like under 10-minute reads if you're reading this single issues. And it's just like, man, this is just so fast. And it's like, yeah, some of it is fighting, so you're, I guess, okay with it. But there's just not a lot of story going on. And I will say, as much as I like Butch Geist's art, Mike Perkins takes over it for the second part of the last issue, and he's a big drop-off.
Mm-hmm.
I somehow didn't even notice the change in art. Have I just gone blind? Have I stopped caring?
Yeah, the last like 5 or 6 pages of the last issue, it's very clearly not Butch Geist or Steve Epting. Like,
yeah,
the faces are very different. The coloring and inking is similar enough that maybe you wouldn't notice it right away, but it's like Tony Stork's bird face completely wrong.
Yeah.
Faces.
Yeah, Perkins was the first replacement artist on this book. I think Michael Lark did like some of the flashbacks originally. But like Perkins was the first like replacement artist, and then they got Geist at some point a little later. And I want to say Geist sticks with Brubaker through like the Winter Soldier series. We're not going to get there. But yeah, Geist I like a lot. I was happy to see him when Epting wasn't around. And I think Epting might be done with the book, but I could be wrong. He might be done after issue 42, which is the next.
Yeah, I know he's getting close to. I will say his art in the first part of this arc is so good.
Right. No, Epting will stick around. Okay, yeah, Epting's gonna stick around. Okay, cool.
Great. So I think that's it for Captain America this time. We will return to this series one more time eventually. Stay tuned to find out when. Who knows when.
I'm thinking January for Death Month.
Yeah.
And before the movie comes out. I also like there's one little moment in there where Bucky's like, I was going to be the only one who's going to be Captain America. Like, I don't know what y'all fucking thought that there was going to be other Captain Americas. It's obviously me. And so I've always been miffed that Falcon's the Captain America in the movies. I'm like, it's Bucky's job. It's not Falcon's job. But that's like where my like little comic book nerd comes out.
Falcon got to be Captain in the comics too, though. It's okay.
Yeah. But he's not my Captain America.
Years later.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it, but I'm not.
All right, well, get over it. We'll let you bitch about it again in a few months when we do this again. Well, you know what? Maybe one day we'll read some Falcon Captain America just to really get in your nerves. How about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that'll show him. All right, but on to the Thunderbolts annual here. So we've been doing Thunderbolts for a long read. We've read the first 4 issues, and they have just kind of accidentally gained a new member, a little teenage girl named Haley Takahama, who has lightning powers. Her name is Jolt, like electrical powers. And we have this annual issue here. This is annual 97, I think, 98, one of those two.
It's 97.
97. And yeah, annuals are weird. I still don't always understand why they exist, because I feel like it would just be easier to do a single issue. But, it's something that sticks around on the shelves forever, right?
Well, it's, if you think about it, so if comics come out, say it's the first Wednesday of the month is whenever Thunderbolts comes out, at least once in 12 months, and usually twice, there's going to be a 5-week Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do with Thunderbolts that time? Got a whole extra week.
Well, and have anything out in that 5th week. I think this also speaks to a time. I don't feel like comics, or at least when I was reading, didn't stick to like this book always comes out on the first Wednesday of the month, like as much as they did back in the day. Like we got Batman's the first Wednesday, Superman's the second Wednesday.
Yeah, I was gonna say in this time they were. I mean, in 1997, this is the period where it's just like you're like, okay, Web of Spider-Man week 1, Amazing Spider-Man week 2, Spider-Man week 3, Spectacular Spider-Man week 4.
We need something for week 5.
And then Spider-Man Unlimited became the week 5.
Yeah.
Book that they would put out on once every 3 months. And so annuals are like a way you put it out every, once every year because you're losing basically once a quarter, you're losing a month.
Oh, and that makes sense. That like the annual, if you're the second slot, that there's 1 month where you're going to cover that slot because there's 5 wins. There's 4 5th Wednesdays, I think, throughout the year.
4 or 5, every year.
That makes sense. But continuity wise, like I hate the Kia. I think you're reading like a trade or something. There's like, hey, the annual came up here. I would have not even known there was a fucking annual because I'm reading it on Unlimited. And Unlimited's not going to tell me that, which I get, but the concept of writing an annual is so weird because like if you make it part of like your big finale, big continuity, there's a chance people miss it, so you don't want it to be that. But then it's like this double-sized issue, but then sometimes they feel like too long because they're stretching out to fit the page count, or it's not the same artist as usual, or maybe even not the same writer. So I'm like, what's the fucking point of this? But I'm paying more for this, so it should be special, but not so special if I miss it. Like it's really.
That's why early on you have like the birth of Franklin Richards is in an annual. You have like big events like in the '60s in annuals, but weddings, by the '90s, they're not important.
Yeah, although I will say this one kind of
this one's good though.
It threaded it nicely in terms of like really trying to make sure it's a standalone that fits into the overall while it's not entirely essential, but it does a good job of it.
That's my challenge with annuals has been contradicted by this one. I think this is probably one of the better modern annuals I've ever read.
Yeah,
it's a very edgy sentence.
I don't know this Kurt Busiek guy. He seems like he knows what he's doing.
All right, so let's jump into it here. Hallie Takahama, she's just joined the team. She's gone through some training drills here, and everyone's a bit impressed with her. Techno has been running some tests on her at the same time, and they're going to look over the readouts later. But she's more curious about the Thunderbolts, and she's like, hey, how did y'all, they're like, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful to be part of your team and everything, but how did y'all meet up and get together and decide to, become a team? And Citizen V's like, good question. But that's like a big story, so give me 20 minutes to figure it out, and I'll tell you then. And she's like, okay, I'll go
frame up the story with slides. Yeah. I don't want to just... I want it to be focused. I want the conversation to be focused. I don't want to go off on my tangents, my weird tangents. Yeah. Can't go on. But actually, he's like, fuck, I got to do this. And I got to tell, Atlas, this is the story, so fucking stick to it.
Right. He's like, I got to keep it close to the truth, but I can't tell her the truth. This whole issue is a recap issue of kind of what they were doing before they became the Thunderbolts.
Yeah. And annual wise, Bagley has that beginning, the main series artist covers that first scene. And then we're going to have guest artists filling in. So I like that continuity of the annual. It's like, this looks like the book you're reading. Check one. Good.
Yep.
It's like Jolt is only drawn by the main artist who's only drawn her so far.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a check in the right column there. I'm happy with that.
So we get into Zemo's story here, Citizen V's story. And he's talking about how, he's dedicated his life to making the world better, but he was failing terribly. And we see him in his lab just pissed off. I just throughout this whole thing, I'm not going to keep mentioning it, but I just love that Zemo is just telling these little white lies over the well, maybe not white lies, but just lying over everything.
Well, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
was gonna say, I love the Venture Brothers of it all, especially once there's a character just screaming, which is a plot point in a Venture Brothers season 1 episode.
Yes, where Zemo is like trying to figure out what he's going to do next, and he picks up a wavelength, a noise coming from another dimension, and it's just someone screaming. And he says, "Oh, this was a friend of mine that I'd made extra dimensional contact with, and I needed to save him." So he goes to Fixer's house. Fixer, who is Techno now. Fixer has a cool fucking house. This dude has souped up his house like crazy. I don't want to skip that Zemo looks great in his disguise to head over to Fixer's place. He's wearing his regular purple uniform with just a blue trench coat over it, looking real stupid.
But he's got like stork or ostrich feather boots.
Yes.
Yeah.
His yellow boots with like fur trim. And he's like, a trench coat will hide this.
Yeah.
That only goes down to his knee. And the other thing I really like is that Zemo's narration to Jolt is the lies, but all the quotes in the scenes are quote unquote real.
Right. We're watching the real stuff happen while Zemo lies about it. Yeah. Fixer has apparently already got some AI technology going. He's got Godzilla in Casablanca there, which is your quote from earlier, Vince. I thought that was great. I think.
Again, Busiek seeing the future of AI. Yeah. Like, it's not going to destroy the world. It's going to be so dipshits can put Godzilla inside of Casablanca. And I'm like, yep, that is accurate. And I'm delighted. And then people on the internet are like, don't share this AI shit. And I'm like, I just want to see Godzilla in Casablanca. It's not stealing. I'm not going to pay an artist for this. I'm not paying anybody for this. I'm just showing my friend, like, a little Godzilla goes, frankly, I don't give a damn. Like, or some shit like that. That's all I want. My hot take on AI, man. I've gotten.
Hey, you know what? It's not bad. Zemo is like, hey, Fixer, I'm trying to save this voice I'm hearing. And Fixer's kind of bored. He agrees to help. He goes over and confirms it is Eric Jostin, a.k.a. Goliath, a.k.a. Atlas. And he's like, okay, I'm going to need some more hardware to save him, though. And Zemo realizes he needs a team and kind of is like, oh, I guess I'm forming a new Masters of Evil. The next person he picks up is Screaming Mimi, who we see her robbing a bank along with her partner, Angar the Screamer. But in Zemo's version, he says, oh, she's a singer, and she was on tour with her accompanist. And but there was a bank robbery, and the accompanist got shot, which that part is kind of true, you know. After he dies, Mimi screams for 43 minutes, creating like a little nuclear war zone right there. And apparently busted her larynx and her throat in the process. Zemo shows up and saves her and kind of takes her to heal. Then we see Beetle. Beetle, a.k.a. Mach 1, a.k.a. Abe Jenkins, is having some real shit luck. The gang he put together ditched him and took all the loot. He goes after one of the guys, and Daredevil stops him. So Daredevil's chasing him around. And some random explosions catch Daredevil off guard, and he's got to back off. Beetle escapes to the river, but all the sludge and the garbage clogs up his jets. And Zemo finds him and says he's the one who got Daredevil off his tail. He wants him to join the new team.
I do appreciate Gene Colan did the Beetle story. And Gene Colan, he was the artist on Daredevil in the late 60s and early 70s. So it is cool to see, like, everything is so sort of stylized and off model. It's great. It's great to see Gene Colan art in 1997.
Yeah.
He was in a lot of Captain America books also. I want to say.
Yes, he did Captain America like way back.
Well, and Brubaker's runs. Brubaker brought him back every now and
then. Yeah, he did come back, and work on, like, I think he did the Invaders storyline whenever they did the like 70s flashbacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I didn't realize he was a Daredevil artist. So they got him to come back to do the Daredevil segment. That's a really cool pull.
Yeah. I thought that was very cool. I was like, this is just fun because everything looks a little like everybody's a little buffer, and like the face looks very like photo referenced of the goon who's like, no, I didn't sell you out, Beetle.
Oh yeah, that guy looks like a real jerk. All right, so back at the base, they have gotten rid of Screaming Mimi's crazy hair. She really looks like a songbird now, with her, I guess, naturally white and red hair. Um, Fixer has made her a new larynx from Claw's schematics, which Claw himself mentioned before. He was
Yeah.
like, "That looks like my shit."
That's very cool.
It is cool, and he's like, "Oh, she'll be a regular songbird these days," which I guess is how she's going to get her name. But Mimi says, "Oh, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I don't know if I want to stay here." And Zemo says, "Oh, you're better here, but if you'd rather go out and be alone, wanted by the law." And she's like, "No, I don't want to be alone. I'll stay here." And Zemo's like, "Okay, good." And Fixer, let's start improving Beetle's gear too. And he's like, "My gear? Nah, yeah, he's probably right." Then Zemo is like, okay, getting ready for his next move, trying to figure out what they're going to put together with all this. He sees all the heroes fighting Onslaught on the news, and he's like, all right, they'll be fine, and then I'll do my plan afterwards. And then they all die, and Zemo's like, oh shit. He gets a little bummed, a little depressed, and he's like, I thought I was supposed to be the one to kill them.
That art is done by, I think, Derek Robertson, who I want to say is the Boys artist.
Yes.
You can kind of see
on
it.
Punisher, yeah, and then the Boys.
Yeah, I definitely, you notice it more in like Songbird's face when she's looking.
Yeah,
at the
you
screen
can see it in
there.
the character face,
in the
like,
eyes,
yeah, and like the kind of thicker inking, yeah.
So they're getting their stuff all figured out, and then they get the readings about that screaming extra dimensional man that they were looking for, and they managed to save him from whoever his captors were over there. It was a little bit mysterious. Fixer is like, I didn't actually do anything for that last part, but like apparently that maybe there's going to be more to this later where someone helped him get out of there.
And that's George Perez.
Yes, it is very, yeah.
It's very like the robot parts are very overdrawn. So I know it's George.
Yeah.
And Atlas is free now. Well, Goliath at this point, and he pledges his loyalty to Zemo forever. Later, Goliath is in bed. Abe makes him some chicken soup, which is very sweet. And I also had to remember they're still villains at this point. But that's like a sweet thing for two villains to do for each other, you know?
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad I can't even remember who was the villain in Superior Foes, the main guy. I'm kind of sad he's not here at this point. Boomerang, but Abe is here. But
yes, his old friend.
Zemo is overhearing their conversation. Abe is filling Goliath in on what's been going on, like, oh, all the heroes are dead, that kind of thing. Just my luck. He didn't get Spider-Man or Daredevil, but he killed the others. Goliath is like, they're gone? Maybe we should apply for the job. And Zemo overhears this and was like, I knew it was a joke, but that was it. That's the idea right there. So then we cut to their first big attempt at being a little bit of a superhero team. There is a escape at a superhuman facility. It's in Colorado. What is it?
The Vault.
The Vault. That's what it's called.
Yeah, we dealt with this before, right? We did the Venom Escapes issue.
There's so many. There's the Vault. There's the Raft. I forget which is which. You know.
Yeah.
But the Vault. The Vault has had a supervillain breakout. I wonder what caused that. And they are rounding up all these supervillains. We got everybody. We got Armadillo. We got Radioactive Man. We got Mandrill. We got Moonstone, Orca, Kane. All these folks here.
Kane from like fucking Clone Saga?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. It is. Yeah. It's spelled Kaine. Isn't that how he spelled it?
It is.
I think so, yeah.
I guess this is where he's been hanging
1997. Clone Saga is what, 95, 96?
Yeah, maybe Kane was in jail.
I don't know. And we got Citizen V, Atlas, and Songbird. Those are the three heroes here fighting, rounding up these villains. The Warden thanks them afterwards. And it's like, Moonstone is still on the loose, but like, really, three new amateur heroes. Y'all did a great job. Thank you so much. Who are y'all? And they're like, we don't want to give our names out yet. We want to keep a low profile until we're ready to debut in front of the public. But then meanwhile, we cut to Beetle and Fixer, who have been kidnapping Moonstone. This is a real two birds, one stone situation. See if they can play heroes and also kidnap Moonstone. Good stuff.
Two birds, one moonstone.
Oh my God. I didn't even realize.
One songbird, one stone.
One song, a song and a stone. Is that anything? No. Okay. They've kidnapped Moonstone. She's a little pissed because she was prepared to serve her sentence. But Zemo shows up, tells her the plan. They're going to pose as heroes. He says we need a psychiatrist capable of judging emotional reactions. And she's like, you know what? I think it's a pretty good plan. I'll join y'all. Like, besides, you've made me a fugitive anyways, so I'm in. Then back at the base, they all come up with a name. They decide it has to be something tough, something self-righteous with an air of authority, something crypto-fascist but friendly.
God, he's using a lot of like 2024 words here.
Yeah. He decides he instantly comes up with the Thunderbolts, and everyone loves it.
Citizen V, huge on Reddit. Everyone loves him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like on in The Boys. They're like, the character named Stormfront was a Nazi. Yeah, she was. Spoiler alert!
What?
Just look at the name.
What do words mean?
Yeah. So Citizen V finishes the story. Hallie gives him a big old hug and heads off. Thanks for telling me. And Moonstone, Meteorite, was listening the whole time from the shadows.
Ooh, the shadows.
And she says, hey, you're not taking this seriously. There were holes in your story. This girl's not stupid. She's going to figure it out. And he's like, nah, it's fine. She didn't suspect a thing. Plus, you're the one who suggested she join the team anyways. And she kind of smiles to end the issue. Ooh. What's she plotting? Yeah. So, I'm glad we didn't skip that. It's a lot of fun. It's nice to see how it all kind of came together. But yeah, definitely also very skippable. I don't know. I've read it before, though. Vince, what'd you think?
I hadn't read it, and I haven't read the Thunderbolts stuff before. I actually really liked it. So my first thought was I like the later origin. Like the Thunderbolts kind of hit the ground running. Like they still have their origin of like, we're trying to do this and we're trying to gain respectability. But then the like how we got to here, origin being delayed by 4 issues, I think is a really clever and good choice. It's very like Netflix model. Like, we're going to have an interlude flashback episode. I like that. Not just Netflix. Sopranos did this. It's a prestige television movie. They probably all stole it from the Thunderbolts. But I like that move. I like that move. And then I also like finally seeing these characters as their villain selves. That's kind of the one thing I've struggled with this book is I don't know the Masters of Evil super well. So I don't know Screaming Mimi or whoever Techno is. And I didn't know Goliath the villain. I don't know any of these characters as villains. So like seeing them in their bad guy costumes is good. I kind of like if I had done another pass at Thunderbolts and I'm not that great, I would have probably tried to look at maybe doing the the beginning of the Captain America Brubaker thing where he had like flashbacks to the 40s. Like if there's more flashbacks to showing them as their villain selves. I feel like that would help me along, but it would probably distract from the story. Yeah. And thus far, it really hasn't been that much of a problem, except to be like, who is it? That's Screaming Mimi. That's Songbird. Oh, okay. Like, that's helpful to me, but I don't know how helpful. If I admit
I think you don't really need to know, but I agree. It is nice just to kind of see more of them in their past. Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I definitely agree that, if this was written after 2005, we would have had, like, every issue is from a different character's point of view, and it would be, like, at half speed. Yeah. And it would be like, ever since I was, like, 10 years old, my brother, blah, blah, blah. But then I became Goliath, and you're just like, okay, I don't care about any of this. But yeah, I think it's fun. This is closing plot holes. It is like a load-bearing issue because it is like this wasn't the last Masters of Evil. Goliath, I guess, was in some, dimension, whatever, where people thought he was dead. And, the rest of the characters had to be sort of brought together. Moonstone or Meteorite had been in Avengers Unplugged, a really bad spin-off Avengers book where she was in the vault and seemed to be like wanting to just get out. So this is like explaining why she's like reversed from what she said she wanted a year and a half earlier. So I appreciate all that. It's also completely unnecessary. I don't need any of this.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that, it's like they have a plan for all of it. They're telling us this. I like the Citizen V telling Joel's one version while we see like the real version. I think is pretty clever.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is like the earliest version of the sort of like playing the media, and so like it is so funny that Citizen V is like, we need like a crypto fascist but friendly name. Where you're just like, this is 1997, really?
I know, right?
I didn't mention they also at the end of this issue. I don't know if it was in the online version for y'all, but there's a fact file at the end, which is just like some paragraphs with the actual origins of all these characters. And it's at the top. It just says, "We didn't expect anyone reading this will believe Citizen V's version of the truth. So here's some real background data on all these people."
Oh, yeah, that is in my
that
version.
was cute.
Yeah.
That's always I don't know why. I always love when like the Marvel handbooks and stuff, which is just like here's some shit about all the characters. It's completely worthless. The internet exists, but it's so nice to have those. I think they're great.
Yeah. Also, I like that Jolts is like, it's all in the book. We're not writing anything.
Yeah, they're like, Jolt is not a old character. She's been in 2 issues.
Yeah, if you read the first issues, then you know everything about her that we do. It's great. The trade that I'm reading from had the -1 issue coming in next, but we are not reading that. I refuse to ever read a -1 issue. This is we don't need this. We don't need it. So on to next time we're going to be reading issue number 5. Oh, look at that cover. We got Atlas versus the Growing Man. That looks like a perfect matchup there. And what are we doing for our main read next time? Oh, hey, we got rumors aplenty that there's potentially going to be Taylor Swift playing Dazzler in a superhero movie. This is entirely invented by the internet and probably not true at all, but we're going to jump on this rumor. We're going to read an old comic from 1984 called Dazzler the Movie by Jim Shooter, art by Frank Springer. This was another Marvel graphic novel. This was number 12 in the line. We've read a handful of these at this point now. Yeah.
$6.95 of 1984 money.
Yeah. Ooh, that means it's going to be big.
Yeah.
And we'll see what we get into here. Just 2 comics next time. Thunderbolts number 5 and Dazzler the movie. We have no idea what to expect from Dazzler. None of us have read it, have we?
I don't know Dazzler for shit.
Do we think Taylor Swift is going to be in this comic?
No. Whoa. She is pretty powerful. I don't think she's as powerful.
You don't think
to
so?
make be in a comic book 5 years before her birth. I don't think she's got that kind of clout yet.
That's fair. But yeah, we're looking forward to that. Thunderbolts, Dazzler next time. What else we got going on? Chris, how is the Your Stupid Minds podcast coming along?
We just covered Gen 13, the movie that was never released in America. We've never covered Gen 13 on this show.
Yeah.
Do we want to rectify that with any Wildstorm books? Early Wildstorm books?
I've never read Gen 13 at all.
I mean, the original miniseries is, I think, only 4 or 5 issues and is pretty self-contained.
Put it on the list.
He sighs. It's on the list. Okay.
It's an interesting movie because it was, as we talk about in the episode, produced by Disney, and then Jim Lee sells Wildstorm to DC, Warner Brothers, while the movie's in production. And so DC, like in 1998, is like, wait, what? We're not going to release this, and never releases it ever.
Wow. Was it good?
It is lost media, except it's on YouTube, and I guess it was released in Canada and Europe only, where DC doesn't care.
Yeah.
But in America, they're never going to release it.
But was it good?
It's okay. Flea voices one of the main characters, which is a choice from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Flea is an Inside Out too.
Oh, I thought you said Lee, as in Jim Lee, the artist.
No.
Always just
No.
one of the characters.
No,
It's
Flea
Jim
from the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Back to the
yes.
Future Part 2
Jim-
and Obi-Wan
Jim
Kenobi.
Flea.
Yes.
Jim Flea.
Jim Flea.
Jim Flea.
Cool. That sounds exciting.
Also, Tommy Pickles, E.G. Daily,
Ooh.
smokes a bunch of cigarettes and says a bunch of bad words. So if you want to be confused by Buttercup from the Powerpuff Girl, Buttercup is the brunette, right? The tough one.
So I'm guessing this was animated, is what
Yes.
I'm getting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is animated.
Okay.
But yes, if you want Tommy Pickles smoking cigarettes in a Disney movie, this is probably your only chance.
I want to say it was Bubbles.
Bubbles was Tara Strong, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
She's blonde.
I don't know. Vince, what do you got going on?
I've got nothing going on, except admitting that Chris was right. It was Buttercup was voiced by E.G. Daily, and she's the green one.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
She's Buttercup. She's the strongest fighter, as the song says.
Me, Elden Ring DLC. Good stuff.
Oh yeah, Ermagerdtree.
Yeah, you got it right. That's all you need to know about Elden Ring.
Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Yeah. It's great.
Good.
It's great. I don't want to give spoilers, but it's great. Yeah, that's all I'll say. Folks, thanks so much for listening. Vince, I love you.
Love you too, bud.
Chris, I love you.
Wait, I'm remembering. Oh no, what happened? I killed Kia?
Oh no. As long as he doesn't remember that he's pregnant with my child as well.
Oh no.
We'll find you. We'll find you standing up in a box in the hallway. We'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm okay. Listener, thank you so much. We love you as well. We'll see you next time. Bye.